You've said that the brain makes the body, and then you've also said that food is data. Talk to me about, what do you mean by food is data? I think that's a pretty powerful concept.
Yeah, definitely. This was a big game changer for me early on when I realized that, you know, the food that I was eating wasn't just food, it was information. And every single bite of food that I was eating, and this is something that I've been studying now for over 10 years, I absolutely love this, is something called nutrigenomics. And it's a study looking at how every single molecule of food that you eat impacts your genetic expression. Food is that powerful, you know, and several other epigenetic factors like sleep, which might be the biggest epigenetic influence. You get to choose what kind of copies are being made of you. You know, your genes are basically blueprint to print out certain copies. And there's upwards of like 4,000 different variations that one gene can do. And you get to have a big role, a big part in how those genes are getting expressed. So understanding that when we eat, you know, a particular food, it isn't just, I'm just eating this thing. It's setting off a cascade of events. And it's incredibly empowering, but also can be really sobering. And again, I don't want to get people into the neurotic state because I've been there, but it's more like the majority of what we want to do is things that are hormone healthy, things that are healthy for your DNA, things that are healthy for your genetic expression. Because, you know, you have a big influence on that.
I love this clip of Shawn explaining that food is data because he's basically saying that we are what we eat. And like he said, this can be very empowering, but also incredibly overwhelming when we think about everything we have to eat. So when you're trying to decide what type of diet you should be eating, a good rule of thumb is to stick to whole foods that are minimally processed. Minimally processed whole food is the type of data that your body craves in order to operate both mentally and physically at a high level. Now, one of the main reasons why we're not able to eat this good data is because our lives are moving at 1,000,000 miles per hour. We have family obligations, things to do at work, and we also want to hang out with our friends every now and then. All of these things have made us feel like we have to eat this highly processed fast food just to keep up with the things we want to do in our lives. So believe me, by no means am I saying it's really easy to eat healthy food. But you have to understand that what you put into your body matters tremendously. That doesn't mean you have to eat perfectly all the time. I'll be the first to say that this guy loves a delicious donut every now and then. But I think a good rule of thumb to stick to is that 80% of the time you should be thinking about how food you're eating is going to nourish your body. And then you still have 20% to prioritize taste and convenience. One of the best ways to eat food that's going to nourish your body is to do a little food prep and plan out your meals. I know that's going to be super difficult for some people, but easier for others. And that doesn't mean that you have to food prep for every single meal of the week or plan out every single meal of the week. That would be kind of ridiculous and not really sustainable over the long term for most people. But even if you just food prep a little bit or plan out a few meals, that's going to put you in a better situation to make better decisions about the food that you're putting in your body. Because ultimately, we are what we eat. The last thing I'll say is that it is tremendously helpful to have people around you that are either helping you food prep or helping you make better decisions about the food you're eating. I know sometimes you got to be the Lone Ranger and kind of go against what everybody else is doing and eat food that's going to nourish your body because you know it's going to be helpful, but I promise you it's worth it. One thing I want you to know is that if you ate really, really well for 5 days in a row and then one day you had a meal that wasn't the healthiest, you didn't completely ruin everything. I've definitely had that mindset before, and it made me feel like I could never treat myself. So do a little food prep, plan out a few meals, don't stress out about it too much, and go enjoy some of the minimally processed whole foods that we have in our grocery stores. Get after it.